There we go. Well, welcome to the San Diego County Football Officials Position Clinic number one of three, and welcome to the 2025 season. We had our general meeting last week and it was well attended. Tonight, I'm at Mira Mesa High School, and so just in adjacent classrooms, first year and second year um, officials are meeting. Our second year officials, all of them are meeting with Dawn. So if there are second year officials that are on your crew, they're in Dawn's classroom right now. They're not going to be necessarily on this call. They will stay with Dawn through all of July and August up to the scrimmages, getting that valuable second year instruction. And then those who have been selected to be on a crew, starting after the scrimmages, they will then be moved into your classroom. So on your attendance roster for the first part of our meetings, you'll see your second year official that's on your crew, his name listed there, but then it'll be a black bar. And that indicates he's in another class, or he's in Don Carey's classroom. And then you'll notice that the bar ends at the scrimmages, and then the rest of the season they'll be in your classroom with your crew. So that's a new little wrinkle we've done this year for those who last year had success at the varsity level, and the board changed our bylaws slightly to allow those, they're just early starters and doing really well, and adding them to our draft. Okay, tonight is for the umpires and the referees, and I really want to talk to you about crew development because our program is a leadership development program, and it's meant to cascade down through our ranks. And so it isn't for up to me to teach every single person everything that I've learned and share all of the wisdom and do it this way and do it that way. But rather, we're independent learners, and we look at mechanics manuals, which is a brand new one this year. Hope you like it. We have the rule book, we have the case book, the flag football rule book now in California, and so you study independently. You get into groups and do study groups, and then you have your crew to kick things around. And then we have classrooms. And in the classrooms, we share information and do instruction. But what we really hope to achieve is that the crew chiefs, after the draft, begin to blend their crew because we have different crews, makeups every year. So you've got to reblend your 4 or 5 guys into a crew so that you're cohesive, efficient, effective, high performing. And by doing that, the byproduct of that is that your officials, whether they're newer officials or veterans, benefit and improve. And it's mostly because of the leadership of our crew chiefs. So that's the premise that we operate on. It started with George Schutte, and we still practice it today, and it's proven effective. In fact, last night at the college meeting, Carl Cheffers came down from Whittier. He's a 3-time NFL referee of Super Bowls, and he came down to share information with San Diego, and he wanted to know what in the heck's in the water down here because of all the quality officials that have risen up through the ranks from San Diego. So we will start by first of all having a conversation about the silent wind. And this is off topic, but it was one that was submitted by John Freeman, who's on this call. And he noticed several officials who, on long plays downfield, were so anxious to wind the clock that the ball was dead, the back judge was moving off the ball, the umpire was approaching the ball, and the referee is winding the ball ready for play. And there's a lot wrong with that. And so the only thing good is that if you're really in a hurry to get that hamburger, you're going to end the game very, very quickly, which is not our purpose. That's not what we're doing. So we're going to make sure that we're all on the same page tonight. because our officials should be fit enough to make progress down the field at a pace equivalent to the teams that are hurrying down the field or getting to the new spot. And we should be in proximity in our position, 14 yards off the ball. Go directly to the new position. Don't go up to the ball. The umpire should be at the ball. Get to your new position. Make sure your officials are ready to go. Back judge is looking at you to get you know, acknowledge that if it's a first down, he should have already started the play clock, and he's in position, proper down, and now you're going to wind the clock. Okay, so we want to be deliberate with that. My particular crew last year, we got caught on a long gainer right before the end of the half, and long gainer completed, and we wound the clock so fast that the team actually didn't have a chance to, barely had a chance to get off the next play when there was really 9 seconds on the clock, and there should have been plenty of time. Another thing that can happen to our officials is on long gainers. It's not that they're slow, but it's just a long completion, a long pass. The ball gets placed on the ground. And again, the referee's 40 yards, 35 yards away from the ball, and they're winding ready for play. And we're not ready. We're not ready. So I hope we're all clear on that how we're going to temper our tempo on long gainers like that. All right. So one of the things, I'm going to go to the sharing and share the bulletin. Not spend much time on this. Okay, I hope you can see that. All right. So this is this week's bulletin. There's all the information. The new shirts, the orders are coming in for crews, pretty high percentage. So Bob will follow up on that and make sure everybody has opportunity to get that new shirt. It's not required this year, but it seems like it's really popular, and most crews have either completed their order or most of their order. It's also available through Umpire. Here's the final data on our foul count last year. This is really good information, and I misquoted when we had our last crew chief meeting. This is a cumulative running total. So after the first week, the total for all of our crews and all of our games averaged at 14.01. Okay, then that was up 0.07 from 2023. But the next week, if you include week one plus week two, it went down to 13.27. So 13.27 was the total of the first 2 weeks, the total average of the first 2 weeks. And by that point, we were now beginning to start a trend of negative, in other words, less foul counts throughout the season. So by the time we got to week 11, we were averaging 12.95 fouls per game, just under 13 fouls a game. I did report last year in 2023 that the average for the NC2A was 14, slightly above 14. So we're under as an association. And I think last night, Carl Cheffers presented those fouls that you have to get. They're administrative fouls, clear and obvious. There's no hesitancy. You've got to call it every time. And then over on the other side, the ones that are not clear and obvious, that are not advantage gained, and they should never be called. But in the middle is this gray area. And the gray area is what we always talk about when we do our calibrations. And Carl was talking last night that the way to improve our accuracy and consistency is to squeeze that gray area. So some of the gray area actually slides over into the always, but much of the gray area moves over into the never. So that's where we really make significant progress. And I believe our association in San Diego has made significant progress by weeding through that gray area and learning that life in the gray area is a 50-50 proposition. So if you're going to stake your claim on those iffy, maybe, let's debate the call, you're going to be right 50% of the time and you're going to be wrong 50% of the time. And that is not a high percentage or acceptable percentage. So if you're in that debate with your crew and it's, well, half say yes, half say no, point it out. That seems to be a gray area foul. And it's one that maybe we can justify tonight, but let's stay away from those. So the more you avoid them, the better your accuracy and your game will flow. So that's enough of that. Um, David Middleton, I'm going to read the book on trust from Stephen Covey Jr. And I'll like to share some of the stuff that I think needs to be shared in the bulletin. And congratulations to Justin Joseph, who's now in the Mountain West. And we'll be monitoring attendance, right, for your crews, your clinics, and test results. Make sure your crew does well in all those areas. Pre-snap, live ball, dead ball routine, that leads to our soup to nuts conversation in just a minute. Make sure that they have a written down or they've borrowed it from our manual on page 134, their pre-snap routine. But it's very, very important that they learn to live with that pre-snap routine. Carl Cheffers brought it up last night that whenever things get rocky, we want to go to that pre-snap routine. That's where our comfort zone is. That's what gets us back in the game. That play is done. It's over. It's gone. And the way to get rid of it is to jump into your pre-snap routine, which you've done thousands and thousands of times. And that way your mind shifts and you reset to the next play. Then we have our live ball action and our dead ball action. So this is every play, and as Ken Flaherty used to say, it's the same sequence as when we were playing football in our backyards. No different. So just be ready to do it, live with football through those three sections of every play. Here's the winning question: do no harm. That's another way of talking about making sure that if it's a safety foul, you've got to call it. If it's sportsmanship, and it is truly a safety foul. And in sportsmanship, it's got to be called. Administration, got to be called. So you got to nail A, B, and C. If you can nail A, B, and C, then D becomes the one where you are working with your crew to make sure that their fouls are a clear advantage gained, a restriction, material restriction, and have an effect on the play. We'll talk about that a little later. Appreciate everybody's work on illegal equipment. The pregame, we have our game cards that we're going to survey, provide to each coach through the umpire. Umpires are available for the head referee for their convenience. So the flanks are going to give the card to the umpire. Umpire is going to find the referee and organize those meetings so that we can tell the head coaches of both teams that these are the players that currently are wearing legal equipment illegally or need to get rid of face paint or cover up the back pad or whatever. That's their warning. Then when we get on the field and they come out for the kickoff and the first two series, we're going to be checking them out and sending them out of the game. We're really doing well on that. Keep it up. By the way, all across California, we've done really well with that. And how do I know? Because when I got to the final game with Mater Dei and De La Salle, didn't have problems with them. Coaches were very supportive and understood. We still had to work with individual players. We still had to send players out, but everybody was on the same page. Coaches' cards, have somebody available to take care of those things. Conflicts of interest, that's up for the individuals. And here's your referee and umpire pregame conference. Here's a sequence that I put it into a card because I'm new, back to it being a new referee this year. So I put it on a card and I have it in my pocket. I also put on the back the what I want to say to them about uniforms. And then also on that card, it's laminated front and back. I have my halftime and post game sequence of questions to debrief. And then again, why do we do all this? Why are we here on a Wednesday night spending an hour on the phone um, or on the Zoom? Uh, because the 2 hours on the field is so much fun. That's why we do it. It's just pure fun. And so if it wasn't fun, we wouldn't do all this work. So always enjoyment is always a major component of every crew. And huddle video, um, I've added all the first year officials, second year officials are on all of the conferences. I think we can take a look now at let's see. I'm going to give you this one. So this is our huddle video under a team management, team up here, team manage team. So in this particular case, this is Robin House's crew, and I don't know if this is accurate or not because Robin House has listed that is House Crew 24. So Robin, is this your crew this year? Are you on? Maybe not.
That's not Robin's crew because Sal's on my crew.
Okay. So Robin is not going to get film. It is scrimmage or first game until he fixes this. And I can tell you that let's look at Matt Starr's crew. Let's look at Coover's crew. Okay, Coover's crew. That's my crew right there. And over on the right, this is the minutes that they've viewed this week. So you can actually look and see that three of the crew members have watched video and two have not watched the instructional video this week. You can actually monitor that with your crew. Now, I don't think that's a motivating factor for anyone to watch film. You don't need Big Brother looking at over your shoulder. But if you have somebody on your crew and they're not watching film, um, wow, I don't have words for that. But I will share with you that under team, manage team, where you updated your crew, if you have your crew listed here, you can look and see what they've done this week. Okay? Little tip. We'll come back to video in just a little while. Okay, so now new sharing. When I started, I had to make my own uh, goals for the season. Each of you did when you met with me. I met with Don Carey, and one of my goals was to restudy how people are drafting. I mean, it's been 20 years or something since I was a crew chief. So I met with Ted Chess, Rob Shear, Tom Abels, and Don Carey. And I talked about individuals with Tom and Don. And then I asked both Ted and Rob, how do you get organized? And they said that what they did, and the names have been yellowed out so you can't read them, but I created a list of all 33 back judges, all 33 line judges, 33 head linesmen plus some extras, 33 umpires plus extras, and then some more extras over here. What I found is that I liked it. I really liked it. I benefited from the work. It was hard work. I had to get all accuracy. I had to make sure everybody actually paid their dues and was eligible for the draft. But once I completed, I'd never done this before. I'd always just worked off um, the ratings up there on the board, and I noticed I didn't have to go to the ratings at all during the draft. So when it came to back judges, and we all draft in different order, so they didn't necessarily go right down the list, but it was pretty consistent going down the list. So when I drafted number, I don't know, 14, I just I knew who my top guy was, and I just picked him. I was done in 10 seconds. Same thing with line judge. I knew who I wanted, it was available, and I picked him. Then we went to head linesman, and again, I stayed with head linesman, and there I looked for the person that was available, and the person that I picked was more highly ranked than actually the head linesman, who's over in the line judge ranking, and I was very happy with that pick. Again, 10 seconds, 10 seconds. Now, when I got to umpire, that was one where I wanted to make sure I had the right pick. So I got up and went back to Tom Abels and I said, "These are the guys I'm looking at." And he said, "It's that guy." And that's the guy I was going to pick anyway, but I confirmed it. So now, I'm sold. This is great. I shared it with a couple of crew chiefs who asked for it, and I'd be glad to share it with anyone else. But I will tell you right now that this coming year, I'm going to start with this template because I have all the names on it, and all I have to do is update, delete, whatever, and I have an order and some people there, and I'm to start with. So it's going to be easier next time. So that's getting ready for the draft. Everybody has their own way. There's no one way. But that was my way of trying to achieve my goal. So if I set a goal, I'm going to prepare for the draft. That's high priority for me. Then what am I going to do to prepare for the draft? Having a goal is one thing, but having a process to achieve the goal is critical. So my second objective, and many of you had crew chiefs had this as a goal, was to improve organization. Some of it was my weekly organization, so I'm not burdened down or overburdened with each of the tasks. Keep myself organized so I'm up to date. And some of it was getting my crew organized. For me, it was getting my crew organized plus my weekly routine, both. So to do that, here we go. I went back to the drawing board and created a soup to nuts. And so let me blow it up. So this is just, I stole it from the crew chief guide that we have. And I picked these first paragraphs about the crew and then the qualities of excellent crewmate from Don Carey. And it's funny because then I went back and bolded those things that related to what David Middleton talked about last week, which was trust. And in building trust, here it says trusted, trusting, committed, responsible, encouraging, dedicated, giving, team builder, accountable, nurturing, prepared. Those are all trust elements that he discussed at last week's general meeting. So all of these are things that I wanted to share with my crew, and then got into the nuts and bolts of who are they. Let's get organized with texting and email, and where do you work and where do you live, and is there any opportunity for us to carpool and all that kind of logistics stuff. And then after that, it was crew duties. And these are my crew members, Ryan, Matt, Jeff, and Daniel. And Ryan was the first one that said, "Oh, no, I can do the foul report. I've been doing the foul reports." Great, done. I'm already in game cut-ups, so I'll be glad to keep doing cut-ups. And logistics for the game, I can do that. Matt's going to help me with the wireless microphone. He's already started that effort and has it all ready to go. I mean, he's done. He's ready to go. All we need to do is go set it up in our scrimmage and iron out the kinks. Game cards, Jeff jumped up, says, "Look, I can do that," plus the scouting report, which is great. That's the scouting report right before we go on the field. I do scouting up here with the game cut-ups because we want to scout the teams on film as well. Ryan's going to do a mini overtime session before we go on the field. Daniel's doing some rules questions. He's also doing the post-game dinner, and Ryan's going to do time management for me, and Matt's bringing nutrition. Ryan with time management, I get kind of pissed off when guys are late and we run late, and then I'm in a bad mood, and then I go out in the field and I'm in a bad mood, and it didn't do any good. So my last back judge on my last crew was Michael Mothershed, by the way, and I'm proud of that. And I had nothing to do with his stellar career as a referee in the Pac-12. But I asked him if he would take responsibility for the crew's time management. So what I'm going to do, and I've told Ryan this, what I'm going to do is if something's late or off, I'm going to turn to Ryan and say, Ryan, handle this. And then I leave it alone. Let Ryan handle it. Then I can possibly check back in with him saying, Ryan, did you handle it? And he can say, got it, we're good. And that keeps me in a positive mindset as we're heading for the field or whatever it is. We also talked about radios and shirts and all that stuff. Here are our goals for this season. Everybody was asked before we had this first Zoom meeting to prepare their goals. So there are all of our goals. So mine was draft. Here's organization, which I'm leading you through right now. And then Rule 10. And for Rule 10, actually, Cal Evans is on here. And my good friend is very thorough when it comes to study materials. He pumps out more than enough for you to prepare yourself for the season. So I grabbed his Rule 10 documents. I also took the Reading Guide on penalty enforcement, and then I'm reading all of not so much the rule book, but the case book. So that's my method for Rule 10. And I'm really proud of the crew, of the different things that they talked about. Two of them talked about vision, wanting to get better with vision, and we're going to talk about that when we get to the film session. And then just it's personal, and they want it, and that's for the season. Each game, we're going to come up with goals that are unique to that week. So those are things that derive from our work on the field. This is the weekly program that we're going to discuss. I'm meeting this Saturday, so I'm kind of nervous about it. But those are I'm going to go through the weekly routine. We're going to have midweek meeting sometime, where every week we're going to schedule an hourly Zoom where we go through our cut-ups from the past game. We go to a goal setting for 15 minutes for the next game, and then we scout on video the next game. It takes an hour, 30 minutes for the video evaluation, 15 minutes for the goal setting, and 15 minutes for the scouting of the new teams. And then all the stuff that reminds us what we need to do to be ready. But by the way, on the Ref Masters, I think Brandon Cruz did a weekly preparation cycle like this on a presentation on Ref Masters. So very, very important. So here is our standard pregame. Again, it's got to be modified because we don't have time if we have a doubleheader to do much, but we are definitely going to do that quick scouting report that I told you about, not the video scouting, but the report on coaches, players, records, just facts, data. We're going to do possibly rules, crew goals. We're going to make sure we're clear on our goals, our final equipment check, and get on the field. And there's also a overtime that's going to be stuck in there, that 3-minute overtime, to make sure we're prepared each and every week for that. Because when we're prepared, it won't happen. Here's our halftime and after game debrief. So this is the sequence I'm going to go through. This is on my card that I said I had in my pocket. This is the list that we're going to go through. Some of you guys have other members of the crew leading you through that. I might try that in the future. Year one, I'm going to do it myself, but I think it's a great idea to have more than one. Somebody's drawing on my screen. Okay, great. Um, Self-evaluation. These are things that we're going to cover on Saturday. And then right here on the soup to nuts, these are the mechanics things that I'm going to deal with. And I've actually referenced right to the new mechanics manual. So we're going to quickly go over uniform and equipment, make sure we're all ready to go. That's page 6. Radio protocol, what to do, what not to do. Referee, my microphone guidelines and penalties, and mostly penalty 10 through 21, etc. through this. But I want to actually use the mechanics manual, not pieces of paper, and not just oral. I want to be able to reference it back. By the way, if anybody has a tip on how to get rid of the markings that one of the officials just did on our screen, let me know. I don't know who blessed us with that. Stop sharing. Oh, good. It went away. Okay, let me see what I have in the chat room. Do you expect Pop Warner to have mostly new shirts or existing uniform? I think it's going to be a mix of new shirts and old shirts. So I have my old and new. And then I'm going to quiz the crew and make, if they all have new shirts, we're going to go new shirts. If they don't, then we'll go old shirts. Probably the old ones, Donald Clay. Yeah, we'll see what happens. And then we have meetings, right? So after we have our first couple of Saturdays, we'll be able to share what's going on. Here's a suggestion from Bob Hood you can read. Um, Mike Downing suggested all the first year will have the new shirts. No sense in them having old shirts. I agree. Chris Meyer, let's see, putting your crew on blast in week 2. I don't know. Okie doke. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to Huddle. And I remind you that they have different versions of Huddle, 2 different versions, and we always work in the Huddle Classic library. Okay, not the newfangled one. You won't get any of my comments, which might be a blessing, I don't know. But all of the comments will show up if you're working in this Huddle Classic. So in here, I'm going to go to vision patterns. So this is something that I might share next week. I don't know. But I'm going to actually present to Long Beach, and they want this item of vision patterns. And what I'm getting at is mechanics is one thing, movement is one thing. Are you in the right place? Okay. And then in the beginning, we're pretty good at, well, yeah, I'm gonna look at the line of scrimmage, and I'm gonna be looking at the snap. Okay, and then the quarterback is with the referee. Referee is going to be checking cadence. That's initial, and then the umpire is going to be looking at the snap. So we all know our initial keys. Back judge is probably on this one. I would suggest he's probably keying out here. So we're pretty good with initial. What changes is when the when the play goes. So what do we do with our vision when the play goes? Um, in this particular case, we're going to have an interception, and we're going to watch maybe where our vision should go. Now, this is a 7-man crew, but let's pretend it's 5. All right. So instead of this guy deep on the head linesman side, so that would be the side judge. Instead of having this side judge back here, it would be it would be a view where we all go man zone ball. So now we're at the ball. So the head linesman is at the ball, and the line judge is at the ball, right? And so the back judge, but in this particular case, the back judge with a change of possession has to change his vision from the actual catch to the action by this other defender on the receiver, because this is where a foul could occur. He could blindside the guy, he could target him. Bad things happen on interceptions to wide receivers who fail to make a catch. And the DB, the second DB, just destroys him. So the back judge has to move to this action. Now, I'm not saying that the line judge couldn't also be helping with that action as well. But this is a good example of, if you're just watching the ball and watching this catch, we could miss something terrible right here. So then we're going to move on a return. So we have a guy running in space. So the idea of all of us watching this guy run in space is a waste of our vision. So what we need to do is, what happens is that the head linesman, and in this case the side judge, both come up here and are looking in front of the ball carrier. Now the back judge can look up the center of the field because, he can be watching here, he can be looking for this action, but the side judge has moved off of it, and the line judge or the head linesman gets this block in the back. So this is a good job of moving your vision away from ball watching and actually move to a foul. Now we have a little problem here because the flags are, 12 yards apart. So I think the head linesman is closer to the line of scrimmage. 31 is where I think 31 is where the foul occurred. And so what they want to do then at the end of this play is the side judge and the head linesman come together. We don't have as much of that in 5-man. 5-man, it would be back judge and head linesman come together and confirm first and foremost they have the same foul. Because they have two different fouls, then the flags might be in the right place. But if they both say, yeah, it was the block in the back, the head linesman could come in and say, I have a better spot. I think we're on the 31. Move his flag to the 31. Side judge should come in, pick up his flag, move it to the 31. And what I do as a head linesman, and it's not being lazy, I tell the back judge or the deep official, you go report. You go report. So he takes the information, player number, blah, 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 and reports to the referee. I go over immediately, make sure my chain crew hasn't moved, and prepare to move my chain crew, because I don't need to go over there and talk to the referee when I have a back judge who can do it for me. So that's just my little wrinkle. Okay. All right, so let's talk about what can happen bad. I'm going to go fast through this. This is a really good umpire. He's going to be a star. So here's what that's me as a head linesman. And working with my crew, I say, look, I need help early on with this gunner. I want to help the referee with this shield and what's going on back here. In our mechanic, the line judge is downfield, thanks to John Freeman. The back judge is down there. So we're all set up for the return. But I've got the line of scrimmage all the way, and then I'm supposed to have the gunner. And then the referee is supposed to have all these blocks and the action on the kicker. So my preference is for my vision to go to the shield and to help with the blocks relative. Now I also have this right here. I can go from this initial block and release, make sure they're not holding. I have plenty of time to get back to the shield. So I start with a snap, line of scrimmage. I move to my tackle, make sure that this gunner gets off okay. Then I go to the shield. And you can see why in this case, the guy whiffs on blocking the punt. Punter pulls the ball back down. You know what? I think I forgot to do something. I'm going to pause it right here. I'll be right back. Stop sharing. I need to do something with the video that I didn't do, which is share. Oh, there's supposed to be an optimize, and I didn't see it. Let me try it again. Yeah, it used to be optimize. Oh, optimize for video sharing right there. I don't care about sound. This makes it so it's smoother. If you do this, you get less jumpy. Okay, now I'm gonna share. Okay, so let me back up. Now I can go slow motion without jumping all over the place. So he comes off the edge, and that's why I want to be watching this. Now, certainly, the referee, who's overshading the left line judge side, is going to be watching the snap, make sure it's clean, no knee down, and then is going to be watching that as well. But sometimes there's more than one person back there. And is he blocked into the kicker? Would we rule that to be blocked into the kicker? And I would have an opinion for with the referee. Looks like he gets shoved. So if he were to run into that kicker, I would be able to come in and say, I believe 49 helped change the direction of the kicker. And actually, and then the two of us would have an opinion rather than just one person. But he pulls the ball down, then he steps forward, and he kicks the ball. Oh, let me back up to that spot. So this is when he kicks the ball because he's pulled it down, double pumped, and now he's kicking. And look at all the matchups on the field. There's a lot of things to observe going on right here. Now, we do have a line judge who's down in position, stable, and he's watching this action down here, right? And then we have a back judge or an umpire who's also shading over here, and he's got a look here and a look here. So we should be okay. We're all out in space. So we should be watching all that. But what happens is the guy kicks the ball straight up in the air, and look at the umpire's vision. The umpire decides he needs to watch the football while this stuff's going on. And this is an example of how we as crew can improve. It's not about the umpire making this mistake. He does make a mistake. We do need to point it out. The umpire needs to take responsibility for it, maybe even make a goal for the next week. I'm not going to ball watch on punts or any free kick or anything. I'm not going to ball watch. That would be a great goal for a game. But in teaching that to your umpire, your other four crew members should also be thinking about their vision and what they were looking at. Okay? So we talked about it midweek. They're still looking at it. He said, I didn't want to get hit with the ball. Then the ball gets touched. Then it's recovered by R. R gets first down. We'd like our back judge to point right here instead of worrying about getting the ball into the umpire. Always want to point, right? Right. Okay, so this is an umpire from our crew who's a really good umpire. And he's doing exactly what we told him to do, which is during the free kick, we're going to watch. I'm over on this side somewhere on the 30, I think. Yeah, right here. And the two of us are going to watch this strike zone. And we're going to start in the middle of the field where the contacts first begin. And that's what he's doing, exactly what he was taught. Unfortunately, if he had just checked the kick, he could see that the kick is going out of bounds right over the pylon. The referee is back over here. Let me move this. Over here shading the head linesman side like he's supposed to. That's proper positioning, which leaves a void over here in our mechanic. And we need the umpire to help the referee to make that judgment. So we had to do a reteaching or an amendment with our umpire because he's doing exactly what we asked him to do. But in this particular case, if the ball, if you would just check the kick first to see where it's going, and you see it going towards the pylon, if he were to just check right here, just a quick second, then we would have an opportunity for him then to stay with that and help with this because this is critical because it's out of bounds and re-kick or at the spot +5 or at the 35. We got to give all those options and or it goes in the goal line. It's a touchback. So this is we need to get this right. Okay. This is a Coover screw up. Happy to say I did get the call right and I missed the spinning of the football. Why? Because my vision wasn't right. I am facing down the goal line, signaling touchdown, hoping that I'm going to be on Referee Magazine, when in fact, my receiver just stood up and spun the ball. And it's a spin that needs to be penalized. We do real well with all of this. We teach the schools not to do it. This particular team was the most penalized team in San Diego County. Thank God I did have a back judge who was awesome, awesome, awesome. He had a flag down for unsportsmanlike conduct and we got this foul. But it's my fault for having incorrect vision pattern. Next week, my goal was to correct my vision pattern on all dead ball fouls, on all dead ball plays. And then, of course, we can get into um, stretch plays and vision patterns. So we'll do that really quick. They've gone heavy over on this side. They actually have twin receivers here. They took their receiver from this side, moved him over, and put him in the slot. He's ineligible. What do you think they're going to do if they've given up one eligible player on this play? They're probably going to run, and they're probably going to run to the heavy side. So this is the kind of pre-snap anticipation that we should have. I'm sure they have a little counter that goes back the other way, maybe to this back here. But this is going to be a stretch to our side. So this is going away from the referee. So referees in the old days, our vision would go here or it would go here, and we'd be out in front of this play from way back there. And now what we're asking is for us to go right to that zone 3, right into the pit, right with the herd. Go in there and give a quick check to make sure everybody's behaving themselves. Why? Because the umpire, after he reads snap and no chop block, nothing illegal between the center and the two guards, and he reads stretch, then his eyes need to move immediately out to zone 2 on this edge block. We have in this case, our line judge is looking at this lead block out here, and then our back judge is filling in as well on these blocks out on the outside. But referee, start inside. Now, you're not going to stay there. You're just going to look inside and then start making your progressions to the outside. Last night, I think Carl Cheffers said that he may view, I think he said up to 10 different players or blocks or combinations during the course of one play. I think that's exaggerated. I think he was making a point. But you certainly, as a referee, would start in zone 3 because the umpire's vacated that. He's over in zone 2 now. Take a look in there. Then move to the next block. Then finally, eventually, you're going to get out here with the runner and the blocks that are in front of him. The umpire is just going to stay, can move, can slide if he feels threatened by any of this backwash. Keep looking at zone 2 and keep, if you're going to get off that and move to the next block, that's fine. But your vision is appropriate to the play. So now the umpire is still looking in where he needs to be looking. This is really good officiating on this crew. Really good officiating. Back judge is now looking up here in front of the runner. Now we have progress by this player, and now the referee has caught up to the play. He can help with face mask, a block in the back, or anything there. All right. So let's skip the backside on that. I think we killed it. This is a stretch. This time we're going to the head linesman side. So here we go. Toss. And again, our eyes need to no longer be back here watching this pitch to this guy. You can see the template. You can see if the ball comes loose. Referee, go right to zone 3. Umpire, move your eyes right to the edge block, zone 2. Back judge, here you are. There's your slot block. And then there's no threat out here. Nothing going on out here. Now we're going to move. And one of the things this guy umpire could do is to just check this block. It is not going to be in the proximity of this runner. This runner is going to break through here. This is not at the point of attack, but it could be a foul. So the umpire may need to take a peek here, or the line judge on the backside might also get up to that second level and take a look back here. He's got that to look at, and a line judge also has this block to look at. These are potential fouls. And back here, wide vision, as George used to teach us. Wide vision, all of those things in your backside. Zone 4 gets bigger and bigger during the course of the play. All right. So the umpire now is going to be really focused out here. After zone 3, now the referee has transitioned into these blocks to help line judge, and then the back judge is going to be out here as well. Line judge is very familiar, back judge is very familiar with second level blocks, but I think in the end zone you're going to see that it's so far behind the run that you really want the back judge to be in advance. These are things we need to teach on a weekly basis when we're doing our film study. So let me get to the end zone. Okay, so he has now moved. This is really good, crew. He has moved his eyes directly here. That may be Sammy. I don't know. I think this is my back judge, Ryan Robinson, and he's looking out here. He's perfect. And then the referee is viewing the herd. Real quick, just make sure there's nothing clear and then move on. Okay. And then as I go ahead, that second level block, you can see how far away it was. This is the second level block right here. And it's so far away from the runner that no effect on the play. Okay, this is one where referees get caught and line of scrimmage officials can really bail them out. But if you're alert to the snap and the quarterback, and then this, what do they call these sweeps? God dang it. Jet sweep or
Fly sweep.
Fly sweep. Fly sweep.
fly sweep. Yeah, thank you. So this is going to be a fly sweep, or it's actually going to be a handoff. But what I'm saying is, referee has to be alert for this mesh point to make sure he doesn't pitch the ball forward. Because if he pitches the ball forward, it's a forward pass. Anything that is loose like that, anything like a forward motion and the ball is loose that's going to be a pass. That's going to be a rule of thumb. That's a pass. And then the handoff looks like that. All right. So after we're done with that, then we're going to have we have some zone 2 blocking going on out here. And if we, as a referee, I would suggest, as this goes, there's nothing really here to look at. This is all second level. And as I suggest here, that the line judge can pick this up, because then the referee has already moved away. So every play, where was I looking? If the referee were still looking at this pile and suspected something, that's fine. That's fine because he has a head linesman looking here, and he's probably got a back judge looking up there, and certainly an umpire. So we're in good shape on this crew. But I would suggest that the referee needs to get to that play. Let's see. Now we have an out front block. This is back judge all the way. So look at the back judge. He's got his shoulders facing the block. He's looking good. And then I'm going to be hypercritical. He turns to go to the goal line, and now he's no longer square. So this is an example where don't worry about the goal line as much as officiating the play. Keep your shoulders square and help with the end of this. This flank looks good. I don't know why I'm sucking. Okay. All right. So then this is a pocket pass. So what I am suggesting is it's really hard for the umpire to see into the backfield here, into the backfield back here. So those edge blocks are really difficult. So if you tell your umpire, look, I want you to watch these three guys here over here, and I'll watch these guys over on this side, then you're putting him in a very, very difficult position to watch this block in the backfield. So I'm suggesting that the referees, soft vision, looking for bad color. This is not bad color. I don't see it anywhere. They're all locked up, good angles, everything looks good, deep drop, no problem. You're not going to get to your quarterback with your vision until he's threatened. So you're still watching all this up here, and then you've got this guy coming off this block. You might have somebody coming off a second block. Umpire's got the middle. Take the middle. Give me some help in the middle. I'll take the two edge blockers. And there's the clean pocket. Clean pocket. Okay, back judge gets to the goal line on this. All right. And again, we want to be stationary. So on this particular play, when the ball arrives, we want to be stationary right here. Getting this, have your flanks just settle, just stop. You're not going to get any closer. It's not going to help. You're running down there and trying to get closer is not going to give you a better look than if you're stationary and viewing the action. So just stop and look. Just stop. Even if it's a 2 yard line, stop at the 2 and give it a good stationary view. Don't worry about the goal line. Or anticipate a step earlier and be there. Doesn't matter. All good. And then finally, I think this is the last one. Let me see if I'm where I am. I have two more in 1 minute. Okay, here we go. So we got bunch over here, and we're going to go in motion. So teach your guys what man and zone coverage look like. So in this particular case, he's going to go in motion, and they don't adjust to him. Nobody follows him. They just do a shift. They point and they shift slightly in that direction. That indicates they're going to stay in zone. They're in zone. There's no man there. So when they do that, we have our visions here. Back judge is going to be looking. It looks like they're going to play a game here. This is where it looks like it's going. This is where the back judge probably would want to look. He's also got a leaker right here. This tight end is leaking up the field. And he's got plenty of time now to see, oh, I got a guy coming loose up the middle. So he's got plenty of time, plenty of room to check both that guy and this guy. And it goes up the middle. Now, the one thing that, again, we want to do with our back judges, settle down. Don't be so active. Don't need to be all the way over there. You could probably do it from, there is a little flip. Just be in the middle of the field. We're good. Don't need to run over there. Okay. And then referees and flanks, This is a great job of signaling that we have five will get you one. A 5 yard penalty is going to get a first down. So we're signaling to the referee. In those situations, we want to make sure of the cadence. So the referee sees that five will get you one, or you hear it on the radio, or whatever, the signal that we use. But at this point in time, you want to look at the quarterback carefully. We want to watch the cadence. He goes hard count. They come. And now they're going to come in and report, I had defense in the neutral zone, and the referee is going to decide the cadence or defense jumping based on the hard count. So here we'll go to the end zone view. Let's watch his head, his shoulders. He looked great. That's DOF. All right? All right. Okay, let me check comments. Okay, we're done. All right. Questions? So, in summary, use film to build your crew. Build your crew by basic mechanics first, George Schutte, get the basics down first, and then to move to the next level, what are you looking at? What is your vision pattern? Remember, we don't use the term anymore. Could you have helped on that? We don't do that. That's a loss of accountability. So when I was talking through this film, I was saying that officials were making decisions on where they want to view the play. They know their responsibilities, they had it all covered, but there were choices on every different play on where they were going to look. And with that, any questions you have, any of the information you want me to share, anything that I shared, whether it is my draft list, whether it's my soup to nuts, none of it's all stolen. We all steal everything we have anyway. So I don't have any claim on it and be glad to share with anybody. Okay? All
Hey,
right.
Cooper,
Question?
this Big Al. Hey, my name was in the chat. I was saying, was someone looking for me?
No, unless you're the one that drew on the screen on my first thing.
No, that wasn't I.
It
I
was.
see Brett Werner or somebody looked like they had called me. I was trying to see if y'all pinpointed me out in the.
Hey, Albert, your name came up when those lines were drawn. That's why I put Albert Jones.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it didn't
Oh,
matter.
okay.
Once I stop sharing, just so everybody knows, if somehow somebody's drawing on your screen, stop sharing and share again, and it goes away. Okay.
Okay. All
Hey, Mr.
right.
Cooper, Mr. Cooper, real quick. Jerry Bogo's mentioned something about putting it on the big line. Instruction video play number 3. The runner was hit at the 22, marked at the 21 is the big line. The 22 is supposed to be 21 and a half. Can you clarify that, please?
Yes. So that was on a kickoff return, and I had progress.
Yes.
I would put it on the 22.
Okay. Yeah, because that's what I thought too. But in the little notes, you said something about the big line. Maybe I misinterpreted what you said, but yeah, I was looking at 22 and I saw big line. And I was making sure. Did he mean like whole numbers or because I don't go in the valley unless it's first down, second down, third, those plays in between.
Right. We start drives on a big line, on a major line, okay, on a yard line. So in that particular play, which is from the instructional video, I was just trying to point out the importance of accuracy in your spots. Take pride in your spots. And in that particular one with the ball in the left hand and being pushed back, I probably would have gone to the 22, not the 21 like that official.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
But the accurate spot probably was 21 and a half, but we wouldn't do that to start a drive.
Right. Right.
Good question. All right. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm going to stop this and stop the recording, and we'll get this thing uploaded. And if you want anybody to watch it, let them know it'll be on our website. Good to see you again, Cal Evans. You're the best.
Hey, Steve, great stuff. Appreciate it.
Mahalo.
Good to be here. Hi to all my friends in San Diego.
Hey, Cal.
Yeah.
And it's only 5 o'clock to Cal. He's still got the whole night in front of him.
Oh, hey, you got me in the middle of the afternoon for this. Come on.
Oh, yeah, it's only 5 o'clock.